How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, where things should be okay. So I had a bit of a snafu. We've just migrated to the computer that's gonna be able to actually keep up with content creation. That's kind of like the issue that happened. So my old computer technically still works, but it was really struggling and just started dying when doing complex tasks like video editing and publication. And it so now it's kind of been regulated to just kind of being a family computer, essentially, just kind of like something for the rest of the house to use. But we were able to get a upgrade, and so now I'm kind of getting everything filled out, and had a snafu where the quality of Wednesday's video was really low because, unfortunately, the settings of the screen capture program I use, like you have to go through and set all these little parameters, and there was one parameter I didn't set, which was the compression, where I established the screen that I was going to record and what like how much the quality of that recording, but then it would output something at a lower quality. Unfortunately, it was set to like the lowest, which was like 720p. So Wednesday's video looks pretty bad, but this one should be fixed. I tested it and I figured out what was going on wrong, so this should be fine. So we're here, we're ready to go. Yeah, so last week was interesting because we got to be reflective on all the characters as we talked to the principal. So my theory is that we are going to be making some kind of choice or start to see choices that lead to the branching plot. That's my guess. It could just be red herring. It could be something that's literally like several parts down. But the fact that it kind of had us review who everyone was and kind of get Yuuji's point of view on each of them feels like it's kind of trying to prep us for a branching part, or at least the beginning of the branching narrative. So we're going to see. Some of you said that, like, you hope I get certain types of endings. I'm going to tell you, like, we're going to showcase one ending on the channel. I'll play the other ones on my own. I don't really know. Like, I have some ideas of maybe the routes I'd be interested in, but I think the best part about playing this game blind, or any game blind, is that I kind of just go with whatever happens. And funnily enough, in the times where I've done that, and I've ended up on paths that I wasn't like shooting for, I wasn't like hoping to get, they ended up not only being great paths, but they ended up being my favorite ones. So again, like, it's one of those things where there's something about the randomness and just kind of following your heart, your first time playthrough of a story that has a branching narrative that really is almost magical. So yeah, let's get started with this. Let's jump right in because I don't know what to expect today. In the field, interpersonal relationships resemble the interlocking of pieces in a puzzle. In order to form a coherent larger picture, the players fix each piece into its place. I move according to their instructions, take the position they designate for me, and carry out the tasks they assign me. In many cases, the players prepare a number of spare pieces as insurance against the unexpected. The pieces in question realize that they are expendable, and are prepared for the possibility that they may be used as sacrifices. I always hated watching as people were sent to their deaths, but I also understood the rules of the game we were playing. Pawns aren't allowed to move on their own selfish impulses. The first priority was always to win. Dang. Bleak, but true. It's probably because I've spent so long in that sort of world, but friendship has become a mostly theoretical concept for me. The word rings a little hollow in my ears. Not to say I'm skeptical of its existence, but to me, it almost seems like something out of the magic show. Show me two people swearing we'll be friends forever, and I'll see some TV psychic bending a spoon. Interesting. So he's just a hyper skeptic of the entire concept. It makes me want to pull back that curtain that they set up around their feelings and see what's really going on in there, how the trick really works. Okay, I'm checking the sound levels because, like, I want to make sure that it'll be good. It looks like it's going okay, so. Alright. Oh, she's drinking her juice again, isn't she? As usual, Michiru's gulping down the bitter soft drink to maintain her vitamin C intake. If she's that determined to keep up this absurdly daily dose, wouldn't taking supplements be more efficient? Absolutely. There are pills that contain daily supplement supplies of the wide range of vitamins. The ideal would be to get everything you need for your meals, but that would involve eating buckets of vegetables daily, which isn't easy to keep up. It's not a great idea to become completely dependent on pills for your nutrition, but I don't think there's any problem with using them to complement your diet. Amen. By the way, I'm a big believer in multivitamins. Having seen how beneficial it is to complement your diet with proper like nutrients. the clarity and like the focus that can come from just kind of nailing a specific mineral or nutrient that you have been lacking and didn't even know. And just kind of feeling that immediate uptick in your energy and your productivity. And then, ultimately also being someone who's like by nature like anemic, like how important iron is to just be able to function on a daily basis. Incidentally, Michiru. Sure. Why don't you just take supplements? If you want to keep up a regular vitamin C intake but don't like sour things, wouldn't it be easier just to take a multivitamin tablet? Okay, cut the maggot. I'm asking you a question. Why do you torture yourself by drinking this stuff when there's an alternative?
Kazami-kun! あんたってば頭良さそうなくせに意外と抜けてるとこあんのね。バカじゃないの。
Sure, I'm the idiot here.
あ、ごめん。いや、違います。
Oh, I think I clicked and might have. Yeah, let me see.
あ、ごめん。いや、違います。
Yeah, so it just reads the like, I'm sorry. So she continues, the answer should be obvious. It's much easier for the body to absorb vitamins when they're in liquid form, of course. Just think about it for a second. I mean, she's right, but at the same time, she's overkilling it anyway.
そんなの簡単でしょ。液体の方が体に吸収されやすいからに決まってるわよ。考えてごらんなさいな。
Almost certainly the water.
そうでしょ。つまりこの私の乾いた体には液体の方が効率よく吸収されるってわけ。勉強になった？
Are you saying that your body is composed of dry sand?
私は砂じゃないわよ。砂なわけないでしょ。でも喉が乾いたとか表現するでしょうが。だから乾いてんのよ。カピカピなのよ。誰がカピカピよ。服についてお米か。誰がお米だ。誰がお米の神様だ。
Wait, why did she go straight to rice and rice goddess? But I mean, look at that face. Look at that face. It's great. I get the feeling you'd end up in an infinity loop if I let you keep going here.
ちょっと頭の良いとこ見せちゃったかしらね。そうよ。みちるの言う通り、お米にはね、神様がいるのよ。だから一粒一粒大事に食べないといけないのよ。
Okay, so is this like a running joke in Japan, maybe?
いやいや、別にそういう話をしてるわけじゃないんだけどね。ところでね、みちるが酸っぱいものを求めているということで、こんなものを用意しました。じゃじゃーん。
Oh no. Amane takes out an airtight plastic bag filled with powder. Although I didn't have her down as a drug trafficker, this is pretty suspicious any way you look at it. No, it's gonna be, isn't it ascorbic acid? It's the stuff that they put on candy to make it sour, but concentrated. So if she's got a bag of the powder, like, that stuff can like melt holes in your cheeks. What's that? Heroin?
そうそう、ヘロイン。これをスプーンの上に少量乗せて、下からライターで炙ります。
Okay, what?
そしてトロトロっとしてきたところを注射器でポンプして中に吸い込んで。
God, she's actually talking. What are you talking? Why?
それから腕の脈の私ぐらいの乗用車は打ちすぎて肌が硬くなっちゃうからね。柔らかいとこを探して静脈にプスッと刺す。
I'm pretty sure she's joking, but like it's still like kind of a disturbing when you explain it like that.
それで一旦血液を吸い込んで注射器の中でヘロインと混ぜてから体内に押し込む。
Okay. Yeah, I meet you right now. Like, what is happening here? YouTube, it's not what you think. She's just being dramatic. Don't slurp. Don't slurp.
私が神だ。
What is happening?
なんでやねん。ヘロイなわけないでしょ。もちろんコカインでもありません。へへ。
What was that? Michiru, I'm on a level with you right now. Like, we've never vibed stronger.
ねえ、本当に違うの？リアルすぎなかった？ノリツッコミでしょ？関西独自の文化の。
Okay.
それで片付けていいのかな？さっきの一連のあれをな。
I agree.
まあまあ。で、この粉は何かというと、実はビタミン A。
Oh, interesting. Vitamin A is really important because you can, like, I think it's either A or K. Like, if you don't get enough vitamin A, you can literally go blind. And if you don't get enough vitamin K, your heart could just stop.
これはビタミン C は言うに及ばず、世界中の酸っぱいものを集め、何時間も煮詰めて作ったミチルのためのスペシャル粉。
Oh my gosh.
酸っぱいうちに召し上がれ。
She's gonna try and kill her.
酸っぱいものが好きなわけじゃないんだけどな。
Huh. Still, you've had a chance to challenge the sour, so the sour dropped in your lap. Might as well give it a shot.
やだ、絶対やだ。
Let's see if we can get her to succumb to social pressure. A veto, eh? Alright. You don't have to try it. I'll have to go instead. Sour things tend to be good for you after all. Well, except for the taste as a result of something going rotten. Amane, you didn't grind up any spoiled meat to make this, right?
もちろんよ。でも。
Then I'll try it.
飲んじゃうの？あ、ちょっと待って、それは。
Oh my gosh, she's like, wait, no, is it supposed to be a prank? Sit tight, watch, Amane. You'll understand, Michiru. You're not going to take this, I will. Here goes.
ここはツンデレらしく。
Oh my gosh, he's playing 4D chess.
あんた、それ私に貸しなさいよ。
Michiru rudely snatches the plastic bag out of my hands and pulls off the twist tie that was sealing it shut.
あんたになんてあげないんだからね。これは私の
This act is gonna kill you. Try too hard to play the tsundere and you'll end up as nothing more than a predictable contrarian. Michiru pours the stuff from the bag and put it into her mouth, gulping it all down as though it were antacid powder. Yeah, just antacid, okay. So, first of all, antacid, I've never experienced in a powder form. Maybe it's just a, local flavor of medicine. It's amazing how much medicine will change, like, and I'm talking like legitimate medicine too, like not just like folk medicine, but like pharmaceuticals from country to country, like delivery method, way you procure it, and how it's ingested. So it's perfectly believable that you could be getting some kind of supplement in a pure powder form and be used to that as a concept. Though I would mix it with liquid personally. And also the whole bag, really? I'm pretty sure that's not just like 200%. I'm guessing that's more like 20,000% of your vitamin A. I'm guessing a pinch is probably more than enough. Oh.
ちょっと全部飲むことないでしょ。一口ペロリでよかったのに。
She might die.
はぎれいらないよね。まさきでそれを言いなさいよね。白が逃げ。翼を越えて逃げ。
I genuinely feel bad.
なんでもいいから飲み物を。
Oh, give her orange drink back? Here you go. I passed Michiru the 100% vitamin C drink she'd been working on earlier. Oh no, oh no. Sour mixing with bitter. That's not gonna be good.
何よこれ。私のジュースじゃない。
You said any drink at all. This was the closest thing at hand.
確かにそう言ったけど、わかるでしょ。どうしてそんなとこだけ急に気が利かないのよ。バカじゃないの。なんでもいいから他に飲み物を。じゃあこっちを。ありがとう。
Uh-oh, what's this one? Jeez.
何これ。
I feel so bad.
私特製のビタミン A100%
Oh my
ドリンク。
gosh.
そんなのあるの。 だったら最初からそれでよくない？なぜまず粉をペロリさせたの？
Well, you weren't supposed to. She tried to stop you.
粉は見せるだけで水に溶かして薄めたこっちを飲ませようとしたのよ。だったら先に言ってよね。ユージが粉を飲もうとした時にちょっと待ってって私言ったよね。あー、確かに言ってましたよね。でもね、伝達の順番をね、よく考えていこうよ、みんなで。
Now you sound like
だからね、将来に向けてさ。
Now she's talking like a politician.
ごめんね、そんなに酸っぱかった？うん、酸っぱかった。
Aww.
何度も言いますけどね、酸っぱいものが好きなわけじゃないんですよ。ビタミンを摂取したいだけなんですよ。
I see. I have no idea why you're so stubborn about not using supplements, but that's your way of doing things. I'll keep my opinions to myself.
はあ、舌のピリピリだいぶ落ち着いてきた。
Good.
ところでユージ、私は酸っぱいものも平気で飲んじゃう最強のツンデレなんだけど、酸っぱいものに食べ合わせとかってあると思う？
Oh, you know, you just batted your eyelid quite violently. But okay, are there any foods to avoid eating with sour things? Foods to avoid. If you're talking about the superstition where certain combinations of dishes supposedly cause some terrible side effects, it's mostly just a bunch of old wives' tales.
そうなの？私はまあ食べ合わせなんて気にしてないけどね。グレープフルーツだってもちゃもちゃ食べちゃうし。
Well, I genuinely like grapefruits. That doesn't sound like much of a flex. Huh, sour stuff. Guess they clash with salty things, so the bad combination would probably be stuff like eel or pickled plums. Supposedly you get a pretty severe indigestion. That's kind of true. Yeah, I don't know though. Sour, like at the same time, like salt, a little bit of salt on something sour like grapefruit or apple, like green apple, not like a red apple, like the Granny Smith type apples. You put a little salt on it, and it actually the salty and the sour kind of morph into this weird experience where it kind of just becomes really extra sweet. But you have to be careful. It has to be a very small amount of salt.
よっぽど多く食べなきゃ平気じゃないの？ものによっては含有されてる栄養素を打ち消し合うこともあるみたいだから避けた方が無難っちゃ無難だけど。
Learning from the wisdom of the ancients is all well and good, but I wouldn't get too hung up on the myths like that. Even the famous legend about durian fruit and alcohol causing some fatal reaction turned out to be a load of crap. But why are you asking about this in the first place? Planning to start cooking?
そういうわけじゃないけど。なんでもないわよ。私は食べ合わせなんて気にしないおてんばがあるってことよ。
Okay, I don't know if like you don't really match the description of a tomboy, but fair. If you decide you want to be that, that's fine with me. A spice girl though.
おでんぱがある？くら！なんじゃくら！やっぱりチルチルは電波を受信したり宇宙と交信したりしてるのよさ。
Yeah, we all saw it coming.
そんなことしてるか！食べ合わせそんなに気になる？健康面を気にしてのこと？気にならない。
Okay. She is oddly worried about it, but specifically, like... Okay, so is she worried because she doesn't want to accidentally poison herself, or is she worried because she wants to poison something?
気にしてたから聞いたんじゃないの？あにゃ、違う。そうじゃないのです。
What's wrong? Your tsundere is starting to fade.
消えてないわよ。そういうのはね、いちいち指摘しなくても平気よ。なぜなら、大抵そうなった時は自分でも分かって。
Why the charade? Why does she demand to do this?
って何を言わせるのよ。私はこれが素なんだからね。皆様お揃いでヘロインパーティーですか？
No, Sachi, no.
それはもう終わったわよ。いや、その言い方は語弊が。パーティーなんかじゃないわよ。もしそうならユミコもいるはずでしょう。
No.
私は仲間外れが嫌いなのよ。
Are we not going to worry about mentioning heroin around her? Because she might literally try and go get some?
それもそうですね。となると、榊さんはまたお一人で読書でしょうか？榊さんってちょっと距離を感じるわよね。仲が悪いとかそういうことじゃないんだけど。
She's a lone wolf.
そうかしら。私はもう、ハローユミコ、今日も元気にしてる？でもあんたの健康なんて気にしてないんだからねってな具合で、
Yeah.
あっちに挨拶できるわよ。
Yes, I'm sure all the practice in the mirror was very helpful.
みちる様の社交性には頭が下がります。まるで壊れたダンプカーのように相手の懐に飛び込んでいきますよね。
That's an amazing description. Yeah, I expect you get carried away with that fairly regularly, probably resulting in a lot of nasty glares from Sakaki.
確かにそういうこともないわけじゃないわね。
That, so fake. So, who does Sakaki spend the most time with then?
そう言われると難しいな。私はマキナの面倒を見てることが多いけど。
そうなのよさ。いつもあまねえに上から下までやってもらってんの。
At least she knows she's a parasite, probably because it's by choice.
私はサチに用事を頼むことが多いかしらね。
そうですね。休憩しようかなというタイミングでみちる様が何かをおっしゃられることが多いです。でも働いている時は充実感があるのでちっとも苦ではありません。
Sachi's really good for reading between the lines and then blatantly just saying what she's saying right off the top of her head.
ふふん、そうでしょう。
Oh my
サチは
gosh.
私のメイドだもの。
Michiru, come on. She's blatantly saying, please don't do this anymore as much.
でも同い年のマキちゃんと一緒にいることも多いです。
Makina's a popular one.
マキナ人気者。チルチルは人気ないね。まあ性格めんどくさいし仕方ないのよさ。
We've really just been given like this a roundhouse beating to Makina.
何よその言い
Not
方。
Makina, Michiru.
失礼しちゃうわね。
My brain.
プンプン。
みちる様、冷静になった上でその現実を
Oh my
受け入れてくださ
gosh.
い。みちる様は人気がない。
That's me. Are we trying to destroy her?
サチ、
チルチルはお友達がいないからちゃんと作った方がいいのよさ。
みんな私のことをどう思って接してるの？
Uh,
哀れみ。
do you want to know that answer?
そこまでじゃないけど。
Oh my
まあ
gosh.
そういう感じ。
Freaking brutal. I don't know about you guys, but call the police. We're watching a murder. Not to worry, Michiru. You can always make friends inside your head. They'll never reject you.
何それ？どういうこと？頭の中にいる友達って？
Please don't make it sound like you think it's an appealing option. Michiru's reaction to my attempt at a joke isn't quite what I expected. She's staring wide-eyed at me, waiting on tender hooks for more details. I take a deep breath and politely begin to explain. Yeah, that's a weird reaction now that I think about it. Well, the most common term would be imaginary friend. It's a fictional companion that lives solely in your imagination. Pretty typical of in childhood. Some people only make one, some people dream up a whole cast of characters. Although they'll usually drop the idea as they grow up, I've heard some people keep their imaginary friends around even into adulthood. It's interesting too, because like, I've also heard that like, imaginary friends can be scalar. I didn't have an imaginary friend per se, but I did have what I guess we call it a comfort blanket. It was just a blanket my grandma gave me when I was really little. And it was kind of something I would like literally hold on to when I was young and like distressed or upset or just wanted to like calm down and like go to sleep or something. I'd always hold it close to me, you know, like a comfort blanket. And I would describe that kind of like an imaginary friend because I ascribed properties to an inanimate object and treated it like it was a part of me. And so like my parents had to do the whole like when we would travel, they'd have to make sure they bring the blanket because if we left the blanket and we were traveling, I'd be a miserable wreck the rest of the trip. So like I would say that that's a kind of form of an imaginary friend. It follows a very similar principle. But one thing that's really interesting is that they did a study on like imaginary friends, and first of all, they find it to be a very healthy thing for kids to go through. It's when it carries on to adulthood where it can start getting questionable. But one of the studies I remember reading in a psych class was the fact that twins often don't have imaginary friends because they have like somebody who's like their age who's around like almost all the time. They very rarely feel the need to have an imaginary friend because they have like a real one essentially. So it kind of makes it interesting. Is like, is the imaginary friend just a manifestation of the of the loneliness that kind of is accustomed as a part of being a child? Like, I think children just have this natural desire to want to interact with other kids, and whether intentionally or not, like, kids can't always be around other kids, so sometimes they just make an imaginary friend, somebody who they can, I don't know, maybe just hear themselves talk to, and that just kind of helps them develop their like social skills and helps them to kind of, you know, flourish. I imagine that having a imaginary friend is a very healthy thing in most cases.
イマジナリーフレンドか。
Although Michiru listened carefully to my every word, it doesn't seem to have been what she was looking for. Her shoulders sag in disappointment.
そっか。それって子供の妄想みたいなものなのね。
I guess so. Unless you're like schizophrenic and hearing voices in your head, that's a bit different. I guess some people have long conversations with their dolls or stuffed animals instead.
みちるは空想とか好きそうだもんね。
Like I said, dolls, stuffed animals, mine was the blanket.
そんなことないわよ。私はいつだって現実を見据えて生きているのよ。ビシッ。
Really? You're gonna, that's a bold claim from the tsundere. Oh, that a fact. So what's reality the way you see it?
私にとっての現実？急に難しいこと言うのね。ちょっと待ちなさいよ。
That is actually, I was about to say, like, it can't be that hard. And I was thinking, like, what's the nature of my reality? I'm like, you know what, that is tough to conceptualize. Because ultimately, I would say it's the interpretation of my senses and, like, how I piece them together. But that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for, like, really important things in my worldview, which is, like, imagination, stories. Frankly, those are just as important as the actual, like, events of life. I feel like they can be just as influential and can be very powerful. Michiru folds her arms and closes her eyes. After a long moment of thought, she stands up straight and delivers her answer.
私にとっての現実とは
Yeah?
私が今ここにいることよ。
You know what? From a philosophical standpoint, that's actually pretty solid. Judging from her dramatic delivery, Michiru must have thought this was a really impressive line. Sadly, her audience is less than responsive. There's a moment of awkward silence. Hey, no. Was it like this? She's essentially resuscitated the I think, therefore I am. Who has said that? I can't remember who that's attributed to, but it's like essentially it's saying like the foundation of existence as you experience it is simply the fact that you are experiencing something. That gives you a foundation to build off of.
そりゃそうなのよさ。ここにいなかったら現実じゃないのよ。チルチルは考えすぎて一周回って当たり前のことを言ってしまったのよ。
そうね。みちるには難しい質問だったかもしれないわね。みちる様、わからないときはわからないと言ってくださいね。そうすれば風見さんも最初から質問しないはずです。
I still think they're being really harsh here. I genuinely actually think that she's onto something. It's just like she's not presenting it in a very clear way, and I'm doubting that she's approaching it in that same philosophical way. But like if you take the character out and just looked at what she said there, I think there's a little depth to that. It's like I said, it's a strong foundation for an actual philosophical discussion.
ちゃんと頭数から外していただけるはずです。
Oh my gosh, everyone, please!
頭数にない。
She's already dead. You don't need to stop. You can stop now.
ちょっと、なんでみんなして人のことちょっとかわいそうな子扱いするのよ。今の答え完璧じゃない。むしろ哲学的でさえあるじゃない。
Can you define metaphysical?
当たり前よ。教えなさい。開き直るスピードがより速くなった。
You've disappointed me. I'm making a note not to expect anything from you in the future. Not that I had been previously, but I'm clearly needing to lower my forecasts even further. From this moment forward, I'll be formally handing you to the authentic, officially certified idiot.
もう、そうやってまた私のことバカにする。バカじゃないんだからね。そういうの禁止。Don't stop!
Don't stop?
ひとまずミスドンストップは置いとくのよさ。
Oh my gosh.
放置プレートはマキナも成長したものね。
プレイじゃないのよ。本気で放置よ。
Oh my gosh. Don't star?
では話を変えてユージ、君のお友達ってあんまり想像できないけど、子供の頃とかはどうだったの？
Thank you, Amane. I'm curious about this too. As a kid, my friends, The words bringing to mind a young girl I met under some very unusual circumstances. Our relationship was basically about helping each other stay alive, but I guess you could have called it as sort of friendship. Then again, after a while, she disappeared from that place, and I was left to fend for myself again. Tricky question. I'm not the most socially gifted person around.
そう？多少気難しいとこもあるけど、ちゃんとしてるじゃない。これからどんな友達が欲しいとかないの？
Okay, that's actually a good question. I'm drawing a blank on the concept of friends, so I decided to mentally substitute the term buddies. I think I can provide a more concrete answer about the teammates I've known on the field. Well, I'll pass on anyone who holds me back. The useless ones don't have any right to complain if they end up getting shot in the back.
後ろから撃たれるってどんな状況下での友達を想定してるのよ。
And that's the sad thing, because I'm pretty sure he means it literally, although they're gonna assume it's figurative. Just a figure of speech. Nobody's actually gonna get shot in the alley. But you should try to learn what you can count, who you can count on to watch your back, and who you can't expect anything from, and how to deal with the latter.
頭数には入れない。
Oh no, it's not even incompetence. Like, you can have perfectly confident people stab you in the back. It's the people who are going to put their interests above yours, who are going to, who are likely to jump at opportunity, even if it means, like, shooting down you, like in your opportunity.
びっく。
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, I like people who are easy to work with. I guess that's really the only thing I'm looking for, to be honest. As long as they don't get in my way, I'm not going to complain.
現実的なのね。友達っていうよりは仕事仲間みたい。
I mean, maybe. Sometimes I think tools make better partners than human beings. They have a clear purpose, you know? Makes them a lot simpler to deal with.
ユージ、人を道具扱いするのは良くないと思うよ。
He's about practicality. Didn't mean to imply that. I'm just saying that tools tend to be reliable. Once you use a piece of machinery enough, it practically becomes a part of you. Simple extension of your body that does what you need. The more affection you give a tool, the more smoothly it operates. A tool won't betray you. Not often, at least.
何の話だかわからなくなってきたのよ
It's
さ。
alright, we're trying to trek through the weeds of, like, metaphor here. Sorry, I got a bit off track there. To put it more simply, I don't think I've ever really had something you could call a best friend.
そうなのよね。友達と親友ってまた違うから、そうなると難しいわよね。
Is it that? Really? Interesting. Because I would say I've got a couple. Like, I'd say 2, maybe 3. Yeah, probably 3. 3 people whom I feel like I could trust to the hilt. People who have been there for me through thick and thin, and who I've been with through thick and thin. And we still are in contact, and there's just a level of just kind of trust in there. I believe so, at least. Maybe that can change over time, but so far it seems to be going pretty strong.
私はあんまりそういうのは考えたことないのよさ。
そうですね。私は皆様のお役に立ちたい一心ですし。
We've been discussing friendship for a while now. Not that the concept has gotten any clearer for me, but at this point I realize that one person has stopped participating in the conversation. Michiru. A certain bottle blonde has slowly taken her distance from the group in our friendly chat. Her face growing increasingly gloomy. Her usual energy vanished. Wonder if something's wrong. Oh, you think? Listen to the music alone. Fetch me. And like, yeah, think about that. So she's standing there when people are literally calling her incompetent and idiot, waste of space, saying they're going to ignore her. Like, some of the most harsh things you can be told. And she wasn't happy with it, but she was still part of it. But then when we start talking about what a friend is, she doesn't even want to be a part of the conversation. That speaks loads. What it says is not, I'm not sure. Has she had someone she thought was a friend who betrayed her and now she doesn't know if she could believe in the concept anymore? Or has she just been so ostracized that she's never experienced a friend, and maybe that's tied to her desire to act as a tsundere, believing that her real self... Remember, I talked about before, I feel like she might feel so ashamed of whom she really is that she tries to bury it behind a facade. And so maybe she feels like the real self, the best friend part of her, like the part that's true and like, you trust to the hilt, isn't worth it, isn't worthwhile, doesn't have any actual substance or meaning. And so she's imposed a facade because that's the only thing she thinks will make people take her seriously. I can see beads of sweat forming on Michiru's forehead, maybe from her stomach maybe her stomach's upset? As she demonstrated just a few minutes ago, the girl isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. As she's an idiot, it wouldn't be surprising if she ate food off the ground and forced herself to intestinal distress. Yes, I can easily imagine the girl stuffing her cheeks with an unidentified berry she found on some bush. I took a good, careful look at Michiru. Indeed. This is the face of someone who's gone scavenging in trash cans once she got a little hungry. I think he's, again, being too harsh on her. I actually think that his, like, low opinion of her is really actually going to his detriment now. I think he is vastly underselling or, like, vastly underappreciating his expectations of her. No, my mistake. She probably doesn't even have to be hungry first. I can picture her plucking some tasty-looking, colorful mushroom off the ground and chowing down on it without a second thought. The mentally feeble are such a handful. Perhaps she wandered down to the beach, spotted a crab, chased after it while drooling, then found herself under attack from a jealous macaw? Is that supposed to be? I think that's a macaw. I don't know if I've seen it in word form in a while. A jealous macaw coveting the same prize. Does this woman have no sense whatsoever when it comes to her hunting and gathering? Just entering a wild monkey's territory is dangerous. Oh, no, not a macaw, because that's like the bird. A macaque, maybe? Yeah, that's it. A macaque is a monkey. What kind of fool goes so far as to try and steal their prey? Come to think of it, crab-eating macaque. Yeah, macaque doesn't even live in Japan. Does this girl wander all the way to Southeast Asia to search for something tasty to stick in her craw? This is just too much. I have to say something. I abruptly jump off the sofa and drop my hands on Michiru's shoulders. Everyone flinches in surprise, but I pay no mind to their stares. I keep gazing firmly, my gaze firmly focused on Michiru as I speak. It's amoebic dysentery, I'm sure of it. Oh, don't worry, I have some experience with this. You were bitten by a crab-eating macaque, right? Try to learn from this experience. Stop scavenging for food for the time being. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing you for the thought. After all, procuring food from your environment is the most crucial and fundamental of survival skills. I'm very proud of you for trying, okay? She's like, what? That said, your particular actions in this case were mistaken. You acted rashly out of ignorance, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. I'll make sure this doesn't happen again. And I sharply turned to face the rest of the group as I raised my voice to the harsh shout. Let me just warn the rest of you right now. You don't have any right to look down to Michiru just because she's caught amniotic dysentery. This could have happened to any one of you. We're going to learn from this mistake. You're all going to know what plants are edible, which are poisonous, and how to avoid savage monkeys. I don't want you crying to me for help when the Japanese islands are covered in jungle.
No.
All right then. First things first. I'll be accompanying Michiru for the moment. Come on, we're gonna go to the bathroom. I need to get a look to confirm my diagnosis. Oh gosh.
待ちなさいよ。何を見る気なのよ。拾い食いとか果肉とか猿とか意味わかんないんですけど。
I don't blame you here. Huh? You were scavenging for food, right? Hence the infection?
違います。勝手に決めつけないでよね。
Then what's with the sweating? Your face is pasty and you've got all nasty beads of perspiration on your forehead. You sure don't look healthy to me.
それは。
Uh-oh. We're touching on those don't talk about topics, huh? Amane, watching Michiru and me with concern, enters the conversation.
急にジャングルとかカニとか、ミチルがどうかしたの？
Not in the least. She's suffering from brutal diarrhea.
違うって言ってるでしょ。
でもそういえばさっきから少し苦しそう。大丈夫？
大丈夫よ。なんてことないんだからね。
Huh. Even if you don't have dysentery, we need to properly identify the problem. Whatever infectious disease you've caught, we need to take the appropriate countermeasures. Understood?
だからそうじゃないの。
チルチル、お腹痛いの？大丈夫？
みちる様、保健室まで私がご一緒させていただきます。
Not necessary, Sachi. There's a possibility she's still infectious. I probably have more experience dealing with this sort of thing than you.
はい、それではよろしくお願いします。
Oh boy. Oh boy. Come on, let's go.
だから大ごとにしないでよね。私そういうの嫌いなんだから。
Interesting. Are we about to have another one-on-one infirmary scene with Michiru now? Listen, maggot, how many times do I have to tell you not to make light of dysentery? The small things are what get you. You change your socks regularly when you're in Vietnam, and you always treat diarrhea with the proper respect. Yes, you do.
そうじゃないって言ってるでしょ。もう。
You're awfully stubborn, but anyway, this illness sure came out of nowhere. You looked fine until we started talking about best friends or whatever it was. Oh, right, nail on the head. Michiru's face fills with pain and she clutches her hand to her chest, and the next moment she's leaning heavily against the wall as if to keep herself from falling to the ground. What's wrong? Are you in pain?
ちょっと休ませて。すぐ治るから。
Wait, is it your chest rather than your stomach?
ねえユージ、お願い。ちょっとだけだから。こういうことには慣れてるのよ。
Okay, her whole tone just changed there. Interesting. This is real Michiru right here. We're finally seeing through the veneer. Normally, chest pain is something we should be responding to immediately, but it seems like this is a familiar occurrence for Michiru. She has the most information, so for the moment, I'll have to trust her judgment. Alright, if you say so, but don't overdo it. If it feels worse than usual, let me know right away.
わかったわよ。あんたに心配なんてしてもらいたくないんだからね。
See, that's more like it. You've got guts, young tsundere. Fetch me. Thumping herself lightly on the back, Michiru slowly settles her ragged breathing down. In time, the beads of sweat on her forehead disappear and the expression of pain on her face fades away. I see. I tend not to trust sick people when they tell me I'll be fine as a general rule, but I guess sometimes the person in question does know best.
言ったでしょ。ちょっとした貧血よ、貧血。あんたは気にしなくていいの。
You know, as an anemic, I can say that's not quite true, but it can kind of look like that. I had a really scary incident actually not like too long ago. So I've for a while I've had issues where, you know, most people have this happen, right? Like getting up suddenly, you get a little dizzy, get a little woozy, maybe even nauseous. For most people, it's kind of a rare occurrence, and usually something exceptional happens, and you just get a little vertigo, right? When you have anemia and you're not like really on top of your iron at that point, so like I'd say early morning when you've been sleeping, so you haven't like eaten anything, it's a lot worse. In fact, most people would only experience it if they go from like lying prone to suddenly like up on their feet. I can get vertigo and dizziness like going from a sitting position to a standing position, not even like in a rush, just like going from sitting to standing. It can happen, especially like I said, if I haven't eaten in a while, that can be the case. But like a month and a half ago, I had a really scary point where I heard like a loud noise in the early morning, and it just kicked my adrenaline into gear. I panicked. I thought there was something like happening. I think I thought like something was leaking water in the house, and that's terrifying because like if you don't catch that kind of stuff quickly, it can really get out of hand. And like I remember I heard it and I panicked and I jumped out of bed, right? And I came into the hallway, saw it wasn't an issue, so I was just standing in the hallway. So I'd gone from like asleep to on my feet in the hallway in like a couple seconds, and I got vertigo. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's like I put my hand on the wall, and then the next thing I remember, I'm on the floor, and I'm like my partner is standing over me and asking me, like talking to me, and I'm just kind of laying there, and I'm like, I was like trying to think about things. I was like answering questions. I was just like, I just remember it's just like, I was like, it's hard to kind of put two thoughts together right now. And then it kind of hit me after a few minutes. I was like, wait, when did I get on the floor? Turned out I had absolutely had an anemic moment where I'd gone from sleeping to jumping out of bed, sitting in the hallway, and I don't know, but the blood just didn't keep up. The pressure dropped or whatever, and I did a full, for the first time ever, a true blackout. I just like my significant other said, I just crumpled to the floor like a sack of flour, and like she said it was really scary actually. Which I don't blame her, but like from my perspective, it was fine. But like still, like that's when you call doctors, you get checked out, you got to make sure there's nothing more serious, and it's a bad combination of having anemia and low blood pressure. So like the two are kind of a wombo combo. If you get caught with like not having eaten proper nutrition or having your supplements, and after a long period of time, and then also having such a rapid like activity, it's scary. I don't think anemia typically causes chest pain.
私の場合は感じるの。だから、もし今後こういうことがあっても、軽くスルーしなさいよね。それと、あんまりこういう姿、他の子に見せたくないから、黙ってなさいよ。
Okay, so I was right. This has something to do with her history. If you've got a chronic illness, I think it'd be best if the people around you knew enough to react appropriately in an emergency. But if you're that opposed to the idea, we can write that memo and stick it on your forehead.
もう、私が黙ってなさいって言ったら黙ってなさいよね。わかった？
if you insist.
それならよし。じゃあ戻るわよ。みんな、みちる様のお帰りよ。さっきのはただの貧血。心配しなくていいのよ。
あれ、もう戻ってきたの？元気になってよかったのよさ。
当たり前じゃない。私を誰だと思ってるの？ツンデレキング、みちる様よ。
一時はどうなることかと。
サーチ、そんなこと言ってる暇があったらお水持ってきてちょうだい。喉が渇いたわ。私はナチュラルミネラルウォーターをご所望よ。
Stuff like that makes my sympathy just drop again.
はい、ただいまお持ちいたします。
戻ってきた途端にさっちゃんに命令なんて。すっかり元気になったみたいね。
もともとちょっと貧血だっただけよ。レバーを食せば問題なす。それじゃあまた盛り上がっていくわよ。
そんなに盛り上がるような話してたっけ？
してないなら盛り上げていくわよ。オラオラ。
これだけ元気なら心配しなくても大丈夫そうね。
Once women get started with their idle gossip in earnest, it won't end anytime soon. In accordance with that rule, the group's conversation stretches on endlessly. Finding a good moment, I slip away silently. When I leave the door, I might bump into Sakaki, a non-participant in the ongoing girl talk. I know she's not the most sociable type, but even so, she's known to the others longer than I have. She might have some sort of answer for me. Hey, Sakaki. Just now, Michiru got sick out of nowhere. Don't worry, it didn't turn out to be anything serious. It just seemed like she was actually completely used to it. Have you seen something like that happen to her before?
いいえ、記憶にないわ。いつもバカみたいに騒いでるじゃない。
Which would mean she's trying to hide it.
どういうこと？松島さん、病気か何かなの？
To be fair, didn't she just ask us not to talk about it, and we're literally talking about it right now? No, I don't think so. Sorry for the weird question all of a sudden.
いいえ、大丈夫よ。
Incidentally, Sakaki, please don't mention what I said to anyone else. It seems Michiru doesn't want people worrying about her.
そうね。余計な詮索をされたくないのは誰も同じだろうし。
Thank you. That's actually...
そうするわ。
I appreciate that. Thanks. I'll see you later. Relationships are difficult things. Too often we hide ourselves out of consideration for others and dress up ugly reality with happy lies. Keep it up long enough and the truth is left irreparably tangled with fiction. Everyone understands that the ideal relationship is based on straightforward honesty, but that straightforward road leads to it feels as circuitous as a maze once you take the first step. Our hearts are hidden from each other, regardless of our intentions. As we stumble through the twists and turns of life, the most we can do is pray that we don't lose our way in the one maze we ourselves have created. But I think that might actually be the most difficult thing of all. If we could manage that much, every path would lie open to us. Interesting. Interesting. Hi, Michiru. You definitely have proved to be more interesting. Very difficult to use your time off effectively. In particular, when you're in a profession like mine, your holiday tends to be irregular and come with many restrictions on how you can spend them. It's hard to make plans ahead of time, and when you do, they'll be spoiled as often as not. As a result, I tend to use my free days to catch up on sleep, get an extra exercise, read books, things I can do without needing any advanced planning or preparation. The major side effect is I'll never be able to form much in the way of a hobby or interest to enliven my usual routine. Well, that's why books were so good. My schedule may have changed once I entered the school, but my mildly pathetic recreational habits remain much the same. Alright.
無趣味人間、ここに極まれりって感じね。
Hey. I'm working through a calisthenics routine in the dorm lobby. Amane's providing helpful commentary.
生きてることが苦痛で仕方ない。でも俺には生きるしかないんだ。
Why are we going all super like Shakespeare here? Look, the stage whispers and dramatic sighs are starting to get on my nerves. How come you just come over here and tell me off to my face?
土曜の昼間から柔軟体操やってる男とかつまんなくてヘドが出そうなのよさ。
Holy crap. I take it back. Do me a favor, stick to sniping behind my back. This is more infuriating than I expected.
にしてもさ、本当にやること何もないの？ヘドはさすがに出ないけど、見ててため息の一つもつきたくもなるわよ、それ。
I mean, having routines is important. Amane squats down next to me as she speaks, her face full of pity. Give me a break here. It's better than sitting around doing nothing at all, don't you think?
確かにそうだけどさ、それでもせっかくの土曜なんだから、少しはなんかこう、もっとそれらしいことしたらいいんじゃないの？
This woman can be such a pain in the butt at times. Bringing my calisthenics to a halt for a moment, I stand up and turn to face Amane. Alright then, as you are clearly a professional woman of leisure, Miss Amane, please teach me exactly how to make delightful use of my Saturdays. I'm all ears. Oh, calling her out. Very simple question, Amane. How do you spend your own free time?
その、
いやだから週末のアバンチュールを優雅に過ごしまくる人生の達人周防天音先生に素晴らしい余暇のエンジョイの仕方を伝授してもらおうと思ったんだが
I think I kind of like side observer Makida's commentary. She's pretty good.
口真似すんな。それに何よその安いコピー。
アバンチュール処女解放そしてびっくり開花
Where the
こうさ、顔めがけて水平にチョップとか打っていいと思う？
It's always shocking when she does that. Don't ask me. So, how do you spend your weekends, Amane?
そこに話戻すんだね。戻すんだね。話。
Yeah, we were talking about it literally seconds ago. Since you're going around calling other people dull human beings, I'm sure you have some really interesting hobbies yourself, right? Spit it out.
習慣大人の隠れ家とかに特集されそうなパーフェクトな趣味なんでしょうな。さあどうぞ。
I think I appreciate the backup.
マキナ、後で覚えてなさいよ。私の趣味は掃除と洗濯と料理かな。
First of all, those aren't hobbies, that's functioning life. And secondly, you call me dull? I drop my hands abruptly onto Amane's shoulders. I'm afraid you've made a serious mistake here, my friend. Please allow me to explain in detail.
ごめん、分かってるからやめて。
Okay. The things you just listed are not what we'd call hobbies.
ダメ、お願い言わないで。
Firmly maintaining my grip on Amane as she squirms around violently, I stare into her eyes, plaster on my fake smile, and deliver a blow of truth. Those are chores.
いやー、分かってたけど改めて言われるとすごく惨
Amane at last escapes from my grasp. Collapsing to her knees, she hangs her head in shame. Makina trots over to Amane's side and gives her back a few commiserating thumps.
まあなんだ、そのうちチミにも生きがいってもんが見つかるかもしれんから、それまではつまらない専業主婦でも頑張ってやってみるといいじゃないかね。
Why does Makina always go for the throat? She just goes to assassinate people's character.
やっぱりチョップをさ、こう。
Well, you're the one raising the girl. Discipline her as you see fit. Anyway, with this level of instruction, it doesn't seem likely I'm going to find myself a hobby worth being proud of at any time soon.
昼間から何をギャーギャー騒いでるのよ。うるさくて起きちゃったじゃない。
Michiru arrives on the scene. She's obviously been awake for several hours already. Probably thought the noise was a good excuse to be nebby. By the way, nebby would be Kanzai slang for somebody with a desperate need to stick their nose into other people's conversations. I've been picking up on a bit of this stuff from Amane lately. Now, the funny thing is, I literally was about to say, like, I wonder what nebby is. Thank you, game.
ユージの無趣味ぶりをみんなで弾劾してたのよ。
Oh yeah, but what about you?
趣味？
Yeah, I don't have anything particularly worthwhile to occupy my leisure time, which they decided to pester me about.
確かに。あんたは趣味とかなさそうよね。ずっと部屋で親指だけの腕立て伏せとかしてそうなイメージ。
I understand what she means, but at that point, wouldn't it be technically a finger stand rather than an arm stand?
チルチルの趣味はオナニーだもんね。
お前、何言うのよ、いきなし。
That's also not a hobby, that's just functional life.
だってチルチルが毎日することで習慣になりそうなのってそれぐらいしか思いつかないのよさ。
Seriously, Makina, you are something else. She's like a monster.
あんたに私の何がわかるって言うのよ。そんなの毎日はしてないわよ。猿みたいな扱いをしないでくれる？
毎日じゃないにしても、してるのは間違いないのよね。
Well, okay, unless you're just trying to go for the blushing maiden, like, I don't know, maybe you just, do people really judge that? I mean, maybe. It depends on the families you come from. I don't know. It's just life, really.
それはってユージがいる前でする話じゃないでしょ。
あら、私は堂々と言えるわよ。
Oh, sure.
昨日だってユージのことを考えながらこう。
Alright.
いいで。
Okay, you say that, and you do that, but the thing is, like, if we push it, you're gonna freak out.
うっとりした口調で明らかに誘うイメージでそんなことを言うな。ユージもなんとか言ったらどうなのよ。
Sorry, but what exactly am I supposed to say here?
そんなオナニーとか言わないようにしなさいとかそういうこと言ってたしなめればいいじゃないの。
I mean, consenting, normal, I think it's fine. It's weird, but whatever.
でチルチルは週に何回するの？指？道具？
Oh my gosh.
ユージをおかずにしてやったことある？
Oh my gosh.
とか思い出せる？
皆さん集まってミチル様のオナニーの話ですか？
She just knew. She walks right in and knows exactly what we're talking about.
もうここの建物ごと爆破してやりたい。
ミチル様、爆破にはそれ相応の知識と資材が必要になってくるので、あまり現実的な手段とは言えませんよ。
Sachi is the wet blanket that everyone needs in their life.
わーってるわよそんなこと。例え話を本気にしないでよ。
申し訳ありません。ミチル様ならばやりかねないと思いまして。
You know what? Fair.
もう
Try to keep it down, will you? Well, since I've come here, I guess my leisure time has been increasingly filled with this sort of boisterous, trivial chat. Even in that alone, I think I've gained something from entering this school. By the way, where's Sakaki? Considering the topic of our conversation, I don't think she'd be sticking around for long even if she did drop by, but I haven't seen our box cutter girl even once today. At a glance, her normally reserved seat next to the pillar at the edge of the lobby doesn't seem to have been disturbed recently.
今日出かけてるわよ。
大きなトートバッグを下げてましたね。かなり早い時間でした。
Interesting.
そんなに早い時間に？
ええ。 私がちょうど起きた時でしたから、5時過ぎぐらいでしょうか。
Sachi, why are you always getting up at 4:45 in the morning? Yeah, that's early any way you look at it. So it's one thing if you have a compulsive morning runner like me, but most people aren't going to wake up at that hour on a Saturday. Grade schoolers with their radio excuses, or old men doing Tai Chi for their blood pressure, baby.
バッグの中何入ってんだろ
なんでしょうね。大量のカッターが入ってるとかでしょうか。
Because that's all she is a box cutter.
う。相変わらず謎よね、あの子は。というか、前にもこんな話したっけ、ここで。
We did, now that you mention it. Amane's words bring to mind the previous Sakaki incident set off by a round of scary stories in the lobby. That affair shed light on one aspect of Sakaki's true nature, but not a particularly large or revealing one, and I haven't gained any further insights since. Sakaki's private life is as mysterious as always. As soon as we get back from school, she tends to lock herself up in her room. On the rare occasions she does poke her head outside, she actively evades any real attempt at conversation. Now there's a question. How about Sakaki? What does she do with her free time? I'm not that caught up on actually finding any answer to this question, but I can't deny that the contrast between the shameless openness of this bunch and Sakaki's cloak of secrecy leaves me slightly interested.
ほなにかな。
You... Look at that face. Look at that innocent, adorable face. And then look at the topic.
あんたとりあえずそこから離れなさいよ。
何言ってんのさ。小、老、病、死。いずれもその根底にあるのは生の喜びなのよ。
It is one of nature's greatest gifts, honestly. Literally just being able to feel really good. Whatever, really.
なんでマキナはこんな子になっちゃったんだろう。
You know what? I do wonder that.
悲しむのもわかるけど、これが現実だ。受け入れろ。
私が悪いのかな。もっと肌の露出を減らさなきゃいけないのかな。
Or, you know, clothes.
あの子、教室では本読んでるじゃん。読書じゃないの？趣味。
それは違うと思います。
どうして？
榊さんは本を読んでいる素振りだけで、実際は読んでいないことが多々あります。
Ah, interesting.
決まった数ページを何度も繰り返したり、そもそもページをめくらなかったり、何日もずっと同じ本を読んでいたこともあります。
Okay. So then what is she doing? Because, like, sitting there staring at a book page thinking, but, like, thinking about what? You're observant, Sachi. Right? Bizarrely so.
はい。マキちゃんに言われて、一時期ずっと観察しておりましたから。
Interesting. Wait, is she talking about that time we investigated Sakaki? I thought our mission wrapped up after we succeeded in startling the girl, exposing her scaredy cat nature, and generally making life miserable for her. But apparently Sachi was still on observation duty?
サッチンの調査能力は完璧なのよさ。
I'm sure they are, so try not to waste them on stupid crap, alright? At any rate, it seems like the bookworm theory is fairly dubious.
ナイフアクションとか。カッターからの安易な発想よね、それ。
Thank you, Amane.
だって他にないでしょ。歩いてるか座ってるか本読んでるかカッターで人に切りつけるかしかあの子の姿って見てないんだもん。
When you describe her that concisely, Sakaki really does seem quite like the fearsome character, doesn't she?
まあいいじゃない。あの子だって人間なんだから影でおなったりエロ画像を集めたりしてるわよきっと。
Why do we keep circling this drain? It's not wrong, but like, is this all we're gonna talk about today? I think we were talking about leisure time and hobbies here, but somehow the topic of discussion seems to have shifted to Sakaki's sex life. How'd that happen exactly?
暇で何もすることなかったらとりあえずエッチに走るんじゃないのかな。
Sure. First thing comes to mind, sure.
じゃあ、何か榊さんに変化がありましたら、皆さんにご報告いたしますね。
Okay, Sachi, that's not necessary. Really, truly not necessary.
はい、わかりました。ではしません。
The last thing we need is this nonsense leading to something troublesome and making things awkward in the dorm. If Sakaki wants to talk, she'll do so in her own time. It's not like I have any pressing need to know more about her, so I'm not going to pry when she wants to be left alone.
あ、いっけね。洗濯物洗ったまま干すの忘れてた。じゃあ私戻るね。
Amane patters off towards her room. Sachi and Makina rise off the couch and continue and follow suit. But before I can get up myself, Michiru sidles up with an inquiring look on her face.
どうしたの？ユミコのことが気になってる？
No, not particularly. I only stuck around because I've been planning to continue my calisthenics, but Michiru ignores my answer to her question, draws her own conclusions, and forges ahead with a one-sided excuse for a conversation.
まあ気になるんだったら早朝にでも入り口で貼っておけばご本人に直接確認できるんじゃない？
Ooh, planting the seed of an interesting idea. I have better things to do with my time.
へえ、ついさっき無趣味ぶりをさらけ出したばっかりなのに。
Yeah, but this is a problematic thing where we might actually cause issues. If you want to talk down to me, I'd suggest you first find a hobby other than masturbation, Michiru.
だからそっから離れろって言ってんでしょ。いや、
みちる様、本当にオナニーが趣味だったんですか？
まあ人生長いんだからそういう時期だってあるさ。猿のようにたけってオナニーにふけり次の目標を考えるんだな、みちるくん。
Makina, please!
あー、何か口に詰め込んで死なない程度に苦しめられるものとか落ちてないかしら。
Clawing furiously at her blonde head, Michiru shrieks desperately, retreating to the heavens. In the end, our discussion about Sakaki's private life was diverted into the usual headache-inducing nonsense before we could reach any real conclusions. Not that it was a topic of especially great interest to me in the first place. A few sets of push-ups later, and I'd mostly forgotten about the whole thing. Alright. Another day. Another day. Alright. We're gonna stop here for now. Don't know what's going on here, but we'll find out. But hey, it was an interesting one. Interesting being the nominal word there. Hey, it's cool though. So yeah, unfortunately I was wrong. We didn't do any choice making, but we had a really interesting insight to Michiru. Not sure what to make of her. Definitely some kind of medical thing, possibly, or it could be a psychosomatic, like some type of like a psychosis or a mental issue that manifests physically. That's also part of it. The fact that it was topic based makes me think that that might be it. So she might be having a physical reaction to a very traumatic, emotional like event. It's a very real thing. In fact, like that's a good example. Like what it can be. Like PTSD can manifest in that, having physical reactions to stimuli that normally shouldn't cause such visceral reactions. Almost kind of like a mental allergic reaction. Yeah, because analogy is your body overreacting to a intrusion of some kind, where it pushes your body to an extreme, trying to rid itself of the toxins that it actually can kill itself, because normally the things like rapid body temperature increase, like the hives of your body essentially just attacking cells and everything, like that's stuff that can save your life in certain invasion situations, like a bad disease. But when it's an intrusion of something like a peanut, for someone who's allergic to peanuts, that intrusion doesn't go away with that, so your body just keeps pushing, and you can literally just have a heart attack from the strain. So there's a mental version of that is very similar, where you can have such an aversion to a experience, a memory, some kind of trauma, that when something triggers a remembering of that, you have a physical reaction to it. And like I said, like PTSD is probably the most common one that you would ever have experience with, and a realistic one to make it understandable. So like somebody who goes into live combat situations where like they literally had life or death hanging on the line, watching friends die and being forced to end other lives who were trying to kill them. All of that is very traumatic. Some people managed it okay. Some people have baggage they have to deal with. And so knowing people who have had this and having them talk to me about how frustrating it is, because like growing up, 4th of July, one of their favorite holidays, but now it's a source of constant strain and physical like pain, where fireworks just end up bringing up all these subconscious memories, making their heart rates increase and making them have panic attacks, like because all they can do is relate to the survival situations, like those feelings that kept them alive at that time are now kind of burned into their subconscious, and it now haunts them when life should be peaceful. So it's a good idea so maybe there's something like that going on with Michiru. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and being a part of the journey. I love being able to share this all with you, and I hope that I continue to be able to make content with all of you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and that'll keep seeing you back next week. But until next video watching me, I'll be seeing you next. I'll see you there.